Today, we're going to be listening to Too Sugar by Wizkid featuring Ayra Starr. As usual, I will be providing a breakdown of the various elements of the track, as well as talking you through some of the things that I'm picking up on and listening out for, both as a promoter and as a curator. This track dropped just a few days ago and is taken from his recent album, which also dropped on the 11th of November, More Love, Less Ego. So yeah, excited to be breaking this one down. But before we get into the video, if you like new music and you like it daily, go ahead, check out my main channel, Pure Urban Music, link in the description below. Let's get it. Okay, so straight off the bat, right, I like how we've just come in with those snares, like right, really nice, really kind of dry snares, no effects put on them. I like that we've got that kind of Wizkid type of beat, you know, it's that kind of beat that we recognize and we associate to Wizkid. I like the keys that have come in, and I like the ad-libs that we've just heard there. I'll take it back, listen to those elements, good so far. So those are the snares, right? And you hear that beat, right? You immediately associate that to a Wizkid type beat, right? It's got that vibe and that sound. And then you've got those keys, right? There's the ad-lib. Keys.
Got it back full of feeling.
All right, you hear how they transitioned us into this part of the song. You had that kind of, I don't know, it's effect. It sounds like a vocal that's kind of just been like, had an effect put on it that kind of brings it from the back right to the front, and it transitions us into Ayra's first verse, right? Just listen to that. Here.
Got it back full of feelings. And a house full of regrets.
And you notice as that transition happens and the kick drum hits, we get an instant key, right? Doom. Just listen one more time.
Got a bag full of feelings.
Key.
And a house full of regrets. This baggage is can't fit to no plane. Don't mean to digress.
Okay, so we've actually had the addition of some extra keys here. So before we just had dun, dun, right, like as we were kind of building up to it. We've still got those in the background. So if you listen, they're there. But now we've got some additional keys being layered. And we need that. We need that because it's bringing some kind of warmth and some kind of fullness to the verses now on the instrumental. I'll take it back just a couple so you can hear that. You can hear those distant keys that we had in the beginning, but we've also got this additional layer.
Bag full of feelings and a house full of regrets. This baggage is can't fit to no plane. Don't mean to digress. I wanna know what's the reason why you moving slow? As you move, no they cross my lane. Shorty nonsense, my best to mommy. My best to mommy.
Right, so you see Ayra's messing around with the flow. She's not just keeping it consistent, which is good because, again, that adds diversity to the track. And now what we've actually had is this introduction of some further keys in the background, right? And they're just like, just playing, right, this kind of constant rhythm. Again, I'll take it back. You can listen.
As you move, no, they cross my lane. Shorty nonsense, my best mommy.
Right, hear those keys. Right, I'll take it back one more. You can listen.
Cross my lane. Shorty nonsense, my best mommy. My best mommy. If you get the problem, my best mommy. My best mommy. I divide my own demons. Don't you see?
And if you listen really, really hard, right, you can actually hear the Ayra's verses, not all of them, verses, vocals, right, not all of them, but are actually being echoed off or reverbed off, right? I'll take it back, right? Just see if you can hear that.
My best mommy.
Here, there, right, that's perfect. Listen to the end of that vocal, right, or end of that line, right, listen. You have to listen really hard, but you can hear it just being reverbed and echoed off, right, just listen.
My lady, shorty nonsense, my grace to mommy. My grace to mommy, if you get the problem, my grace to mommy.
There.
My grace to mommy, I divide my own demons, don't you see? Don't you see if you get the problem? My grace to mommy, my grace to mommy.
Nice how she's bringing those. You see what I mean about playing around the vocals? She's the back end of that, right? And I'm going to assume we're going to transition into Wizkid now because it's about that time. But you see how she brings the notes low, right? Again, just to add a bit of diversity to that, right? Listen. So you can see there, she's not high. She's kind of at this kind of mid, what I would call like a mid-level, right? Without kind of obviously knowing her range, but it's this kind of mid-level. And then soon she drops us down, right? Listen.
Don't you see if you get the problem?
Here we go, we're going low now. And then listen to that. It's actually proper nice. We get that kind of that vocal again that's had that effect on it that comes from the back and comes forward, transitions us into Wizkid's verse, right? Just listen.
My own demons, don't you see? Don't you see if you get the problem? My grace, mommy, my grace, mommy. No, yeah, mommy, Joko, mommy, go. And I know for life for you, mommy.
Okay, so we got two things here, right? So now we've got Wizkid, right? And he's switched up the flow entirely, right? With the way that he's delivering his vocals and his verse. And that's good because we want that. We want differences in the performers, right? Like we like to keep it good and to keep it interesting. We want, you know, Ayra delivering her verses in one flow, and then we want Wizkid when he comes in to mix it up, and you know, if Ayra comes in again, we want her to mix it up again, right, with the flow. So we got different flow from Wizkid, which is good. But now we've got the introduction of a bass line. Again, I'll take it back. You can listen to it as it drops in, and also just pay attention to Wizkid's flow and how it's slightly different from Ayra's.
If you get the problem, my grace, mommy, my grace, mommy. No, yeah, mommy, mommy, go.
Right, listen to that bass that comes in, and it's quite dirty as well. You know, it's not like this smooth bass; it's quite a dirty bass. And just listen, that's his flow. That's how he's running with it. Right, listen.
And I know for life for you, mommy, yo, go loco by me, yo. I mean, not the love, but they try me, yo. Say my kind life, no they funny, yo. Many things I sing, feed on by me, yo. Big money.
And we've got slightly layered vocals from Wizkid, and it's not happening all the time. They're just very subtle. They're happening every now and again, and they're actually offset against one another as well, right? I'll take it back a few. I can't quite remember where it happens, but just listen out, and I'll point it out, obviously, when it does happen, right? Hang on. And I know for life for you, mommy, yo, go loco by me, yo. I mean, not the love, but they try me, yo. Say my kind life, no they funny, yo. Many things I sing, feed on by me, yo. You hear them there, like they're offset very, very slightly, right? Just listen.
Yo, say my kind life, no they funny, yo. Many things I sing, feed on by me, yo. Big money, man, nothing tiny, yo. I mean, no they take man, I find my own demons. Keep the bad energy going.
Okay, now the bass. It's either been layered. It actually sounds like we got a different bass coming, right? I said the bass before was dirty. This one's filthy, right? Like the bass has changed. Even though this one, the original one, is prominent, this one comes in and it's very prominent. It's like it wants you to know that it's there, right? Just listen.
Many things I sing, feed on by me, yo. Big money, man, nothing tiny, yo. I mean, no.
Right, hear that bass, dun dun, right? Pay attention to that one and listen to what happens when it changes.
Many things I sing, feed on by me, yo. Big money, man, nothing tiny, yo. I mean, no, they take man, I find my own demons. Keep the bad energy.
You hear that? Boom, boom, boom. Like the bass has changed. Do, do, do. It's real it's filthy, right? Listen.
I need you. I mean, no, they take man, I find my own demons. Yeah. Keep the bad energy going. Yeah. Play with no time when you see us. Yeah. We got the right energy on. Yeah. Bust to the rhythm, nothing long. Yeah. We fly with the thing on. Yeah. And who know they grind, know they belong. Yeah. Bad energy, you know, come aside. Yeah. Shorty nonsense, my face.
Right, we hear that again, right? We hear that reversed or kind of affected vocal that comes in and transitions us right into Ayra's verses here. Also, the bass has changed again, right? You listen to how the bass changes when we hit Ayra's part, right? Just listen.
With a fly with the thing on, yeah. And who know they grind, know they belong, yeah. Bad energy, you know, come aside. Shorty nonsense, my face, mommy. My best mommy, if you get the problem, my best mommy. My best mommy, I divide my own team.
You hear that boom, boom, boom. Like it's got like a grittiness to it, right? That the bass before didn't have. Just listen. I'll go back. Just one.
My best mommy. My best mommy, I divide my own demons. Don't you see?
And also, what you notice here, right, there isn't as many keys going on. You can hear those keys in the background. The original keys that was in the intro, they're there still, right? You hear those. But other than that, the keys have been stripped back quite a bit, actually. You hear those keys? Right, listen one more time.
My best mommy, if you get the problem, my best mommy. My best mommy, I divide my own demons. Don't you see? Don't you see if you get the problem?
Hear that bass? It doesn't even sound like it's meant to be. It sounds like you've just died in like an old video game. Do you know what I mean? Like Mario or something. Like that's what it sounds like. I'll take it back. Just listen to that again.
Get the problem, my best mommy. My best mommy, I divide my own demons. Don't you see? Don't you see if you get the problem?
There, bro. Sounds like you've just lost your final life in it, and it's like game over. One more time.
On demons, don't you see? Don't you see if you get the problem? My best mommy, no.
Okay, actually, I really like the way, because you notice we didn't get that affected vocal come in for any transition here, right? So I like the way that Wizkid actually, he's just kind of ad-libbed his way into this part of the track, right? Just listen.
Don't you see? Don't you see if you get the problem? My best mommy, no.
Hear that?
If you live this life, I don't leave you, go no.
You see, and you know, like, I know for me, if I was just listening to this in the car, I wouldn't notice that transition. So I wouldn't notice this massive difference between, you know, Ayra finishing and Wizkid starting, because there wasn't a big transition, like, you know, that effective vocal was just, he ad-libbed his way in and it was smooth. Do you know what I mean?
If you live this life, I don't leave you, go no. Man, I leave, I don't send no person. Save me, I don't send no man. I don't live my life on a low, I need a show. Steady bank cruise. Man, I find my own demon.
You hear how they cut that there? You kind of get this break in the beat, right? And then Wizkid continues, yeah? And again, that's a nice touch. Listen.
Send no man. I don't live my life on a low, I need a show. Steady bank cruise. Man, I find my own demons. Yeah. Keep the bad energy going. Yeah. Play with no time when you see us. Yeah. We got the right energy on.
Right, you notice now how they're playing with that kind of bass, that dirty bass, right? And the keys, right? So sometimes like you'll get dun dun like from the bass, and then you'll get nothing, and you get dun dun, dun like on the keys, right? I'll try and point it out, right? But just listen.
Man, I find my own demons.
Right, so you hear that bass, do do do, right?
Keep the bad energy going. Play with no time when you see us.
And there. Now we get dun, right? Listen, just one more time. I take it back, right? Hopefully, get the bass. We get dun dun dun, and then we get dun, like on the keys, right?
Yeah,
Listen.
no send no man. I don't live my life on a low, I need a show. Study bank cruise. Man, I find my own demons. Keep the bad energy going. Play with no time when you see us.
It happens again, do, do, and then we get these nice keys.
Study bank cruise. Man, I find my own demons.
Right, hear that? Dun, dun, dun. Right, listen.
Keep the bad energy going. Play with no time when you see us.
And there, we don't get a bass, we get a dun on the keys right here. Just as we get that view.
Keep the bad energy going. Play with no time when you see us.
There, right?
We got the right energy on. Bust to the rhythm, nothing long. Yeah. We fly with the thing on. Yeah. And who know they grind, know they belong. Yeah. Bad energy, you know, come aside. Shorty nonsense, my grace, mommy. My grace, mommy. If you get the problem, my.
Right, yeah, and now we're just messing about with the bass all day long. Like, it's just going on all over the place. And Ayra's coming in, like, I'm loving her flow, man. It's kind of like a sexy kind of flow, right? And look, I'm not basing that off of the video, I'm basing it off of the sound. Like, there's a sexiness to her vocal, right? Just listen. And also pay attention to how they just start messing about the bass, bro. It just sounds like they're just doing whatever they want with it now, right? Listen, but it works, it all works.
Belong, yeah. Bad energy, you know, come aside. Shorty nonsense, my grace, mommy. My grace, mommy. If you get the problem.
You see that bass, dun 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 dun. Right, this one more time, and listen to Ayra as well.
Nonsense, my grace, mommy.
That's the low bass, dun dun.
My grace, mommy. If you get the problem, my grace, mommy. My grace, mommy. Yeah, they fight my own demons. Don't you see? Don't you see if you get the problem? My grace, mommy, no.
Now we're just gonna play it out. But listen to the bass, it's perfect time. Come on, bro, listen to that. Do you hear that bass roll there, right? Like, just listen. Banger. Okay, verdict time. So I'm going to give this track an 8 out of 10. Really like the vibe of it. From the outset, you kind of got that. Well, this is a Wizkid type beat, Wizkid type vibe. I liked the keys that were being used. They weren't being too overdone, right? There were some subtle keys at the start. We had some keys that then come and layered in as we entered into Ayra's verse. We then had some additional keys which kind of come in at the background, just right, which again just added a nice layer to kind of really pad out the instrumental across those verses. I also liked the use of the bass. They've made it a real grimy bass. It's not been sort of like this smooth sort of bass that you would expect actually when you listen to the keys to kind of accompany them. You know, you'd expect a smooth bass. It was a surprise as well because we didn't have the bass in Ayra's first verse, which I pointed out, but now we know why, because obviously if it was in there from the very beginning, it had the potential to get a little bit annoying and not work. And then finally was the collaboration between the two artists. I mean, look, they're both awesome artists, well established heavyweights. I liked the way that you had the switch between the artists, right? It was an even switch. You had Ayra, Wizkid, Ayra, Wizkid. I also liked the fact that they didn't put too many effects on their voices, but also that actually they didn't bring the two artists together. If you notice in that track, there was no crazy ad-libs, there was no massive harmonies and bringing it all together at the end like you normally find on tracks. They actually kept the vocals from both artists very segregated and separate, which actually was nice because then it gave you an opportunity to appreciate, you know, what each of the artists is bringing to the table. Okay, that's it from me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I'll see you in the next one.